The MyHallam podcast is ran by students, for students, as a place to discuss the student experience, and we will also give insight into the various events happening within Sheffield Hallam University and across the city. Hello and welcome to the MyHallam podcast. My name is Rogan. I'm joined here with Joe Hannigan.
Hello.
And Connor Christian.
Hi, you're right.
Today we're going to be talking about academic advising and sort of using our experience with academic advising to give you an idea of what it is, what it could mean for you as a student, and why it is or isn't important. So, guys, what was your experience with academic advising?
So my first experience was actually in third year, where we one of our tutors was our academic advisor, and it was basically just somewhere where we could go and address any concerns that we're having about like the course or even stuff outside of uni, and that was just a really good place to go and like, you know, just for like sort of well-being as well, just to discuss any issues that we were having or anything like that.
Yeah, pretty much my experience with pretty much the same as that. I only had the idea of an academic advisor in like second year, but I never went and saw one until like the first semester of my third year, and even then I only had one or two meetings.
Yeah, for me I was kind of confused because there were so many advisor types open to you at the university. Like if you're ill and you need an extension, you see one type of advisor, you know where to go to for that. And if you're struggling with the way you word an assignment, you would go to the library and see an advisor about that. So I was never really too sure on what the academic advisor was for, and it's interesting to hear you guys saying about like it can help you with mental well-being and the pressures of deadlines and assignments and things like that. And admittedly, I never really used mine for that. It was just a quick chat every couple of months. Joining us on the podcast today is Sam Clayton, who has a very interesting story with his academic advisor who helped him a lot. Say hi to everybody, Sam.
Hello, you're right.
So, can you remind us again on sort of what your course was at Hallam and when you studied?
So yeah, I started my course Sport Business Management in September 2015. I did it straight 3 years through, and with that I was based up at Collegiate Crescent. My experience with my academic advisor was very positive. When I first started my course, I was like given a academic advisor that we were told this person will take you kind of through your studies. So instantly we were given a positive introduction to our academic advisor. Other people I know kind of use them just once every semester, just almost because they had to have a meeting with them. And I felt like I could get a lot more out of this person than simply just meeting him just because I had to. And that I felt the more help I can get, the better my grade will be, surely.
Yeah. Did you know your academic advisor before knowing, like, was it a lecturer of yours or a tutor or something?
Yeah, so she was a lecturer of mine, and she was fantastic. She straight away introduced herself. So before my course itself, I didn't know her, but yeah, my first introduction to her was actually as a lecturer, and then within a week or two, she was introduced to me as an academic advisor. And for that reason, it was almost quite nice, really, because it was a friendly face already. Because the difference between that, I guess, school and college was and lecturers were more of a friendly, personal relationship, whereas schools and colleges was more of a student and teachers type relationship. So I'd instantly got a positive relationship going with her already.
Okay, and would you say that she helped you just specifically for your course, or did they help you gain from the meetings with her, like help you outside of the course as well?
She helped me through a lot, to be honest with you. It was like instantly helping with my course. We had our first assignment within a few weeks of starting my degree, and for that that was basically just a tester of how I actually write a piece of work, how I structure it, my referencing, and how to basically put a credible piece of work together. And instantly she was helping me on that. But at the same time, the more meetings I had with her every few weeks, I was having a meeting with her, and the more I had with her, the more she was getting to know about me, my personal life, and the fact that my only thing going on in my life wasn't just my studies. I was outside of my studies. I was a football referee. I was part of the Scout Association, and it was fitting in all these things and basically just going for another opinion really on what I could tackle and what I can do.
Would you say that she helped you more emotionally than with your like academic work?
I think it was quite a nice balance, to be fair, because she was very good in looking at my work. Because I did say to her quite a lot of the time, look, I want you to be nice, but at the same time I need you to be critical. So she helped me with my work greatly for that reason, and I'm forever grateful for that, because I do believe she's one of the main reasons why I'm a better person for my writing compared to I was before. I mean, this Christmas that's just gone, I did a thank you letter for a family member for a present they gave me, and I showed it to my mum, and my mum went, "You didn't write that," and I said, "I did honestly," and that's obviously my style of writing has improved dramatically since she's last seen me write up, and I think, to be honest with you, my academic advisor was a great help for that reason. But then, for the emotional side of it, I feel like she was just fantastic, because she was always just there. You know, if I was struggling with a piece of work, she was just there emotionally. But if I was also struggling with anything else outside of my studies, she was also a fantastic help.
So obviously you was doing a sports business course,
Mhm.
and you were refereeing in your spare time, I assume.
Yeah. So it was a hobby that I'd been doing a few years prior to it, but yeah, I carried it through to university.
Okay, and did that help you within your actual course, and how did the academic advisor sort of help you with both of these two elements? How did that dynamic work?
So it helped me to do with my course, because I think to be a football referee, it's quite easy to think it's just simply going out onto the field and managing a game of football and that's it. But on the side, in like behind closed doors, there's a lot of communication and a lot of organisation that needs to go on. So especially with your admin, they do want your admin to be absolutely spot on. And I guess the skills I got from that and again from that really transferred over to doing my university studies, and vice versa really, to be honest, because going to university, even though my academic advisor was fantastic in supporting me, she was also a great person for my transition from college over to university, because I think at school and college you can get almost spoon-fed quite a lot of information, whereas when it comes to university, obviously it's all about being very independent and your own person, and you're an adult at the end of the day. So she's fantastic for that reason, that she was able to help me become more of an adult in my actual studies. But then it transitioned over really well, because my admin and my organisation picked up very well from refereeing.
Do you think what I kind of wanted to ask you was, like, I would have loved to have done a sport at university, but I found that it was too like trying on my studies. Like, I couldn't do my studies and be in a sports society. Like, I know a lot of people that have done that, but for me it was too much. And I just wanted to know how you dealt with all that.
I think a lot of time I had to put a plan into place, and it was almost sometimes, to be honest, it was a little bit of risk and reward type process. There were occasions where I would get given a really good game midweek, especially as my local county FA knew I was a university student, so they knew I had a bit more spare time compared to someone in full-time employment. They could afford to offer me these some really good games midweek, so I might go and be the fourth official on a professional club's like reserve game, and that was as a referee of someone who's 18, 19 years old. That's really like something really good to get. So it was being able to kind of go to my academic advisor and simply say, I've got this game, and weighing it up versus either the lecture or the seminar or that is kind of occurring at the same time. Am I able to go to that game, do that, and then meet up with you after and discuss all the notes? And she was always fantastic with that, really supportive. So that was kind of how it was in terms of the studies versus the actual physically doing the refereeing. But as well doing my actual assignments, because I never had any exams. So doing the assignments, that was one bit that took up obviously a lot of time during my studies, and for that reason again she was really helpful, because we managed to weigh up my refereeing versus that, and I kind of they fit in quite nicely, really, and I had enough time to do them both.
Did you get any like certification, like FA certificates for refereeing whilst you were doing that?
Yeah, so during refereeing, there's actually like different promotions that you can go through. So everybody starts out, as long as you're over 16 years old, as a level 7 referee. That's kind of like the ground grade that you qualify at. And then you can go all the way up through the levels. So level 7, level 6, and level 5 are like amateur level referees, like doing amateur level football, like the local Sunday leagues, county senior league, and things like that. And then after that, you can go on further from level 4 onwards, becomes like semi-professional football. And when you're really down the line, you can do professional. And I started university as a level 7 referee, but an aim of that because that is a career aim. I wanted to make it. I want to make it as far as I can. So I decided to kind of pursue them levels at the same time during my studies. And it sometimes got really hard because you have to be really committed, go to loads of evening meetings in the refereeing world. And so basically I managed to get through my level 7, my level 6 and my level 5 throughout my studies at university, and right at the end, just as I finished, I just became a level 4 referee. And
Congratulations.
Yeah, very, very, very proud moment of mine, and a lot of work went into that, but I do believe without the bits of help I did get from my academic advisor, I wouldn't have been able to definitely not do it as easily, but maybe not even do it at all, because she did certainly give me the right support that I needed from an educational point of view.
Would you say she spurred you on rather than deterring you from doing something in physical while you were in university?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because she couldn't be any further away from deterring me, to be fair, because she was just fantastic in the support, and I do believe it. All of the academic advisors that are on that were related to sport business management, I do believe that they would have all given that additional support. I think you almost have to go and utilise the facilities on offer, because they're all there working as a team for the students, and that was really nice to see. But I think my friends who had different academic advisors, one of them actually had the same academic advisor. He didn't get as much from it because he didn't give as much off, whereas they're kind of waiting for you, and if you want their help, that you can approach them and they will give you their all.
Yeah, so I guess that goes back to what Rogan was saying at the beginning, and there's like, what is an academic advisor like? Where do they fit in amongst like where you go for help? Because there's so many different places you can go, like the library or X whatever. So obviously, in a more generic view, when students are going to be soon to be hearing about academic advisors, where do you think they fit in, and how can students make sure they get the most out of an academic advisor?
I think these quite more generic in terms of, if you go to them, they can point you in the right direction for help. So obviously they can't help you with all of your help, because if they're a lecturer on your course, that might be their speciality, and they actually can't focus on might not be able to focus on student well-being or financial support or something like that, because obviously that's not their job. But they are a great point of contact to go to them, and they will point you in the right direction. That was what I really found was helpful, because if I needed help on a certain assignment but she couldn't quite give me the correct advice, she'd point me to that lecturer that I needed to go and see.
That's great. How important then do you think it is that that the academic advisor is part of your course? Like, because she's obviously able to empathise with you when in regards to wanting to be a referee on a sports course. Do you think it's important that is an important element of academic advising, that it is somebody from your course?
Yeah, I think so, because they do get the work we're doing as well. Because as nice as it is to have someone almost like a shoulder to cry on at some point, it is nice to have someone there. They also need to get the situation you're going through, whether it's your studies or whether it's your outside activities, and especially during your studies, you could say, I'm struggling on this piece of work, but if they're an academic advisor and they're a lecturer for a different course, or they're not a lecturer at all, they might not actually get the work you're doing. So even though they can give you some great, they can be really empathetic, at the same time they might not actually fully get what you're going through, so they can't fully give you the correct advice to move forward.
Yeah, when I had my academic advisor meeting, we talked about my passion to create independent films out, so to have my own, or to work within an independent production company, and my academic advisor was in a position to tell me within his career when he did do that, and the moves that he made, and why it may or may not have had a little bit of success here and then didn't have success here. which made for just a really interesting conversation, which for me wasn't actually about what I was studying at the time, but it was food for thought, and gave me, reasons to plan for the future and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was always nice for me to be able to draw up comparisons, really, because she was actually an umpire. I think they call it the class it as. She was an umpire in netball,
Okay.
and she was saying she qualified, but she doesn't get how people can actually do it as a thing. And it was really nice to always almost kind of have similarities as well. I think that might always be a kind of a key thing to try and engage with is do they have any similarities, any interests that they're involved with. I think for us it was kind of, I think for me, my academic advisor, it was almost a bit of luck, to be honest with you, that we got put with each other.
It's always a bit of a weird one with me because I think the best grades that I got was with the tutors that I got on with the best. Do you understand? And like vice versa where it comes to academic advisors, I think maybe because I didn't have that relationship with mine, I didn't want to go and see him as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, with her, I think during my studies ever, she marked 3 pieces of work throughout all my 3 years and all the different modules that it. She only marked 3 pieces of work, and for what I remember, to be fair, I didn't do too badly if you're in a class like. But yeah, I think it's probably a pattern that would often occur. Obviously, there's the odd result that you'd think, oh, that I thought that would be a lot higher or a lot lower or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's probably quite a key thing for the academic tutors to get on well with the students, whether they're the academic advisor or not, because I think the more they get on well with them, the more they're willing to talk about the work and the it's human nature at the end of the day. The more information they may divulge.
Yeah, 100%.
For the students coming in September, how would you define academic advising, like in a really simple term, so that new students can be like, okay, this is why I go to this person?
Yeah, so it's your person that's there for your course worries and your personal worries that can point you in the right direction. I would simply say, and with that person, you will hopefully get a really personal bond going with over the 3 or 4 years, however long you're at the university for.
Yeah, and I guess the benefits sort of like span outside of uni as well, because like as we were saying, like with some of our experiences, it's helped on like side projects or what we're looking to do after uni that might not even be like specific to the course or what we're studying like module wise at that time.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, yeah, she benefited me out of it because she was able to help me in terms of allowing me, I guess, to go and do them extra games or go and see them extra people and really just giving me the emotional support, because I think sometimes she didn't have a direct involvement in what I did in my football refereeing, but just the emotional support spurred me on and just gave me a bit more determination, really. And I think that's how she benefited me in my football refereeing quite a lot.
That sounds like you had a really great experience. I mean, it's interesting that we can converse and say how some of us didn't necessarily use the academic advising more because we didn't really understand it. But as we more talk about it, it can't be understood. It's just a really open conversation with somebody who's supposed to know what you're going through, and therefore is actually in a position to offer you advice.
And I guess really you're not going to lose anything from even just taking a couple of meetings a year just to touch base and, you know, check in with yourself, really, because just having a conversation with someone can be beneficial.
Yeah, for me it was a lot of the time I was struggling with sort of the emotional side of it and being able to manage my time properly. So I was a little bit like, right, I've got this and this to do, but I don't know how to organise myself and I don't know when I'm going to get time to do it. But even sitting down and talking with someone can just, you know, you get it all laid out, and your academic advisor is there to kind of, I would say, just it's like a person that you just push all your thoughts on and they'll organise them for you.
That's a good way to look at it.
Instead of you just sitting and rattling around thinking, what do I do next?
It's like an external perspective on your sort of problems.
That's exactly it, yeah, because my family have always been very supportive. We've got a very, very close family. Like my brother and my sister are like my best friends, and like my girlfriend throughout uni, very supportive. But the thing they didn't get was the actual course itself, so they could help me. And for example, my sister, a very intelligent girl, she could read through my work and tell me in terms of any grammatical errors or anything like that. But in terms of the actual context, so they don't get it just because they're not doing the course.
Yeah, they don't.
Whereas, she got it.
If someone's not on your course, they don't truly don't understand how to help you. And it's a bit of one of them that your academic advisor is teaching your course, and he knows what it is. So like, you know, he's there to help you. He's not there to you know, he's not there to hinder you.
Yeah, I think this has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you for coming down, Sam.
No problem.
It's been wonderful to speak to you, and yeah, we'll hopefully we'll speak again at something in the future. I'd hope so.
No,
Thanks for meeting.
thank you very much. It's been
Cheers.
wonderful. Thank you.
So how lucky was it that you and your academic advisor had similar interests?
I think very lucky, to be fair, because obviously everyone's different in different ways, and we just had similar interests, such as the officiation side of sport. So obviously I officiated on football, and she got the qualification through netball, and she was just always saying she didn't actually get like how like people do it, and we all just have like nice chats and have a laugh about that.
Was she a lot older than you?
Yeah, so
Obviously.
Yeah, she was. I'd say I think she's got children round my age. She's a bit younger, I believe, and so but it was quite nice because she was almost like an academic mum, really.
Yeah.
Because and it's quite nice to be a mother figure, but such like really like nice positive relationship, and that's probably what I would say. Like even to this day, I'll still ask her if I can stick her on. My references for job applications and things like that.
Yeah. And she's your reference for job applications now.
Yeah. So she's always one of my references, because I think it's just great for someone to know you from an academic point of view. So it's always nice for someone to know you personally, and maybe from a hobby, like so for example my coaching, refereeing. He tends to be one of my references as well, but she's always one as well, because it's just nice for someone to see from that perspective, because you can work hard in a passion of mine such as refereeing, but working hard in your studies and education is a different take.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a weird one with me, because I think the best grades that I got was with the tutors that I got on with the best. Do you understand? And like vice versa, where it comes to academic advisors, I think maybe because I didn't have that relationship with mine, I didn't want to go and see him as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, with her, I think during my studies ever, she marked 3 pieces of work throughout all the 3 years and all the different modules that she only marked 3 pieces of work. And for what I remember, to be fair, I didn't do too badly for the class that. But yeah, I think it's probably a pattern that would often occur. Obviously, there's the odd result that you'd think that I thought that would be a lot higher or a lot lower or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's probably quite a key thing for the academic tutors to get on well with the students, whether they're the academic advisor or not, because I think the more they get on well with them, the more they're willing to talk about the work and it's human nature at the end of the day. The more information they may divulge.
Yeah, 100%.
For the students coming in September, how would you define academic advising, like in a really simple term, so that new students can be like, okay, this is why I go to this person?
Yeah, so it's your person that's there for your course worries and your personal worries that can point you in the right direction. I would simply say, and with that person, you will hopefully get a really personal bond going with over the 3 or 4 years, however long you're at the university for.
Yeah, and I guess the benefits sort of like span outside of uni as well, because like as we were saying, like with some of our experiences, it's helped on like side projects or what we're looking to do after uni that might not even be like specific to the course or what we're studying like module wise at that time.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, yeah, she benefited me out of it because she was able to help me in terms of allow me, I guess, to go and do them extra games or go and see them extra people and really just give me the emotional support, because I think sometimes she didn't have a direct involvement in what I did in my football refereeing, but just the emotional support spurred me on and just gave me a bit more determination, really.
Yeah.
I think that's how she benefited me in my football refereeing quite a lot.
That sounds like you had a really great experience. I mean, it's interesting that we can converse and say how some of us didn't necessarily use the academic advising, more because we didn't really understand it. But as we more talk about it, it can't be understood. It's just a really open conversation with somebody who's supposed to know what you're going through. and
Yeah.
therefore is actually in a
Yeah.
position to offer you advice.
And I guess really you're not going to lose anything from even just taking a couple of meetings a year just to touch base and, check in with yourself, really, because just having a conversation with someone can be beneficial.
Mm.
Yeah. For me, it was a lot of the time I was struggling with sort of the emotional side of it and being able to manage my time properly. So I was a little bit like, right, I've got this, and this to do, but I don't know how to organise myself, and I don't know when I'm going to get the time to do it. But even sitting down and talking with someone can just, you get it all laid out, and your academic advisor is there to kind of, I would say, just it's like a person that you just push all your thoughts on, and they'll organise them for you.
That's
Instead
a good
of-
way to look at it.
Instead of you just sitting and rattling around thinking, what do I do next? What do I do next?
It's like an
What
external
do I do?
perspective
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your sort of problems, really.
That's exactly it, yeah, because my family have always been very supportive. I've got a very, very close family. Like my brother and my sister are like my best friends. And,
Yeah, me too.
and, so, and like my girlfriends throughout uni, very supportive. But the thing they didn't get was the actual course itself, so they could help me. And for example, my sister, very intelligent girl, she could read through my work and tell me in terms of any grammatical errors or anything like that. But in terms of the actual context, so they don't get it just because they're not doing the course.
Yeah, they don't.
Whereas,
They
yeah,
don't.
once you've got it.
If they're not, if someone's not on your course, they truly don't understand how to help you.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of one of them that your academic advisor is teaching your course, and he knows what it is. So like, he's there to help you. He's not there to he's not there to hinder you.
Yeah, I think this has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you for coming down, Sam.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful to
Yeah.
speak to you. And yeah, we'll hopefully we'll speak again at something in the future. I hope so.
No.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you very much. It's been
Cheers.
wonderful.
Thank you
you.
so
Cheers.
much. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So
Cheers.
much. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So guys, that was a really interesting discussion with Sam Clayton, who had a fascinating experience with his academic advisor, which was very different to ours. With that knowledge, do you think you would have made more of an attempt with your academic advisor?
I definitely would have, because I didn't even fully understand like what the role of the academic advisor was. So from what Sam said, he's obviously had a very amazing experience and probably may have like actually made his degree for him. Like it seems like one of the like major points of his degree that's like got him the success it has. So, and I'm not saying that's obviously going to be the case for everyone, that like it might be few and far between, but for me, yeah, like I feel like I would have made a little bit more use to a point, especially in terms of like extracurricular stuff as well.
Yeah.
I think with me, I don't know if it's sort of changed my like outlook on academic advisors, because with my experience, it's like he seems to have had the emotional connection and like got to know her,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and she's got to know him. Whereas with me and mine, it was sort of like check in once or twice, but not really anything deeper.
Yeah.
And
I guess that is one thing. It does depend who you're getting as an academic advisor, but as Sam said as well, put a little bit of effort in, you'll get more out of it.
yeah, definitely. I could have definitely put 10 times more effort in with it. But I'm more of a. I can admit that I'm a proud person, and I felt like that were like taking help, and
Yeah.
it's hard to take help sometimes when you're a bit more proud and you want to do it on your own and go out there and do it.
Absolutely. It's like I know towards the end of my degree, like I'd taken on too much and it was overwhelming for me at points, and like I just wanted to bury my head in the sand. And to know that actually there was a guy sat ready for me to just talk to him about that I didn't take advantage of, makes me feel like I missed an opportunity, to be honest.
Yeah.
me too.
So I definitely, if you are like in your first year and you've got plenty left to go, or you're about to start Hallam, make use of your academic advisor, because by the sounds of it, you don't necessarily have to even have a problem. It's just somebody there for you to
Yeah.
talk to, and moving forward, it's somebody for you to use as a reference. you
Yeah,
know.
definitely. And if you're unsure as well about like how to go about accessing your academic advisor, just ask around, because everyone on your course is there to help you at the end of the day.
I feel as though with the tutor I had for modules, they were more of my academic advisor than my advisor was. Do you know what I mean? So I had someone to talk to and someone that I connected with on an emotional level, and we had common interests. So I think as long as you find someone that can support you and understand you and you get along with, that is, you know, it could be a tutor, it could be an older student, it could be anyone. It's just, if you've got no one, there's always an academic advisor there.
Yeah, I guess that's the same story for me and Rogan, because obviously we have the same academic advisor. We have other tutors that we're also like quite close to on an emotional level, because our academic advisor wasn't present in our uni career until final year. So we'd already established relationships with other tutors from first year. And so that kind of had a big part to play in like why maybe we didn't use our academic advisors quite as much. But
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for listening. That was this episode of the MyHallam podcast, on which we talked about academic advising and had an interview with Sam Clayton. My name is Rogan.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Connor.
Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.